Next to the overhand shuffle, the riffle shuffle is the shuffle used most in the Western world. And here is how it looks. That's a riffle shuffle. Let's look at how to do it effectively and elegantly. So this is the grip, and the hands rest relaxed on the table. The sides of the hands are on the tabletop. The two fingers, the ring finger, the little finger, go on the sides. The middle finger is the only finger at the outer side, the thumbs at the inner sides. Now look at two ways of doing the riffle shuffle, the closed riffle shuffle and the open riffle shuffle. First of all, the packets have to be separated. So we call this an uppercut. The right hand is uppercutting to the right, or we say the left hand is undercutting to the left. The packets are brought in this V-shaped configuration. The hands move in and now seize the cards in exactly this way. The four fingers lightly on top, because they're going to afford some counter pressure to the thumbs. The thumbs lift up the inner ends and riffle them off gently, while you get a very gentle counter pressure by the four fingers. Once the corners have been interlaced, the hands move back into the basic riffle shuffle position and push in packets like so. So that's how a closed riffle shuffle is done. Now in an ordinary riffle shuffle, you always uppercut to the right, drop off from the right packet first, and finish from the left packet, because that loses the bottom cards and the top cards. And that's the accepted procedure of a riffle shuffle. Now let's look at the open riffle shuffle. It's very similar. However, the position of the hands doesn't change. Once you separate the packets, the position is kept. And the riffle shuffle executed like so, and squared in exactly the same way. Let's see what to do after the packets have been pushed together. Whether you do it with an open or you do it with a closed riffle shuffle, doesn't matter. You reach this point and you want to have a perfectly squared deck. You stay like this, the middle fingers go around the outer corners, come in, and the thumbs and the middle finger perform a sort of milking action, with the four fingers joining the other two fingers. Not only does this effectively square the deck, it also looks very neat and elegant. Now do this very gently. At the beginning there is a tendency to be very hard on the card. Don't bend them up, just lift them up and gently let them go. So we'll need a little bit of practice, but we always think that you're just caressing the cards. The riffle shuffle is a wonderful technique to control the top and the bottom stock, individual cards, several cards. Now let's look at that. If we really shuffled, the card will be lost. But it's a very easy matter to drop the top cards last. Now a way to effectively hide this, rather than doing this several times always the same way, is to alternate the uppercut and the undercut. That is, in the first action you uppercut to the right. In the second action you uppercut to the left. And to further simulate that, you lift the look. You look at the spectators as you're separating, then you look down, the shuffle, the audience can see that you shuffle, you look up, separate to the left, you look down again, and you shuffle. In much the same way, the bottom cards can be retained by simply dropping the bottom cards first. And you can apply the same strategy of alternating the undercut and the uppercut to effectively dissimulate the control of the bottom card. Now obviously you can not only control one card, but even larger stocks like 5, 6, 7 cards. And here is the showiest way of applying the riffle shuffle, and that's the riffle shuffle in the air with Waterfall. And it looks like this. Now although it looks very showy and difficult, it is not. The only thing you really have to learn, and that will take a little time, is to grip the deck in exactly this fashion. And it has to be secure, locked grip that will allow you to do this. Once you can do this, and you can do this with both hands, you're able to do the riffle shuffle in the air. Now let's see how to elegantly get into this position. Release half the pack, take them exactly the same manner, help with the right fingers, riffle the cards into each other, lift them to this position, securely locking the cards for just an instant, then immediately release the pressure of the fingers, keeping the pressure of the thumbs, and you're going to obtain a very nice looking and sounding shuffle. Now you can listen to the sound, whether it's the table riffle shuffle or the riffle shuffle in the hands. It should always sound a little bit like the purring of a cat and not like a breaking, you know, like an icebreaker going to the Antarctic. Like this. A very gentle sound. The sound is as gentle as the touch. Have you ever been in Las Vegas, Lake Tahoe, Atlantic City, or one of the playing casinos? So what do you play?
Mainly slots.
Slots, okay. You ever played craps? Or
No.
The dice game? Oh, I have some, look, wait, there are. I have some magical dice that will win any crap game, imaginary dice, yes, because they are magicians, of course, yes. So let me show you that they're genuine. You know, I throw them, now I have a 6 and a 4, okay? So if I throw them again, now I have 2 5s, which shows they are not loaded, they're not special dice, okay? Yes, good.
Okay.
Good. Now, would you, Ruth, take, please, the dice and... Good. You're playing very well. It's amazing what you can do with adults. You're playing very well. Very good, very good. Now I'm going to demonstrate. Look, let me show, first, can I help? Sorry, you dropped one. Good, yes. Let me show you what I'm asking to do in just in a second. You shall throw the dice, okay? I'm looking away so I can't see what you're throwing. Now in this particular case I have a 2 and a 3, you see? So it's 5, right? Good. Yeah. So you're going to count that many cards. I mean, if you have 12 or 5, whatever. So you just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Provided you have 5. Then you look at the next card. You show it, yes, to Anna, so you both know it. And then you put the cards back. Good?
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Sure. Let's be sure that we shuffle correctly. Good. 52 cards, they're all here. Please, Ruth, please take the dice first. And yeah, I'm looking away. I don't want to do that. Good, good. You throw? Good. You add them up? Good. Okay. Now put the dice away so I can't see them when I turn around. Yes. Good? Yes. Now, whatever number you have, you count that many cards on the table, like I showed you before. You count.
Okay.
Yes. Very slowly, yes. Yes. Don't do it too loud so I can't I can't hear. Okay. Good. You done? You look at the next card. Did you? You look at the next card? Yes? You show it to Anna. You put it back on the deck. And you put the cards you counted plop on top. Plop on top. Good. So may I turn around?
Yes.
Where are you? Oh, there you are. Good. Everything done?
Everything's done.
You hit the dice, yeah? Okay?
I
good,
hit
good,
the
good,
dice.
Good, good, good. Okay. Now we don't know. I'm going to shuffle the cards. Actually, you can shuffle like the American gamblers do. Do you shuffle like the American gamblers?
Sure.
Okay, please. Go ahead. Shuffle like the American gamblers do. Or maybe Monte Carlo. Yes, go ahead. Very good. Oh. Again, go ahead.
All right.
I'm going to do the difficult version.
Okay.
Yes. And cut. Yes. Carry the cut, as they say professionally. You cut as well.
Okay.
I mean, the deck has been shuffled, it's been cut. Carry the cut. Good. Very good. Now, I'm not even going to touch or look through the card. Who's got the card? You both got. Oh, that's good. Makes it a little bit easier again. Yes, a little bit easier. Let me see. I have it. Yes, I have. It's not a red card. It's a black card. I know what I'm doing. Oh no, I see. It's a red card. Yes. Yes, because it's not a diamond. It's a heart card. Yes. Yes. It's a red card. I got it. Now I commit myself. Okay. And you must commit yourself as well in just a minute. I'm going to put the card here on the table. Okay, although I'm going to show you, yes, I'm going to put it, let me put it here. Voila, there it is. Now, I'm not changing anything. 52 different cards, freely chosen by the throw of 2 imaginary dice in a loud voice. What was the card?
Ace of Hearts.
Ace of Hearts? I know, that's what I'm saying.
Awesome.
Here's the Ace of Hearts.
Wow.
That was really cool.
That's great.
Well, and where are the dice?
Here
Yes, thank you. Now look, I give each of you a souvenir.
Thank you.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
you can take them with you. You never know when you need them.
That's
you know.
true.
Yes. yes. The mind mirror relies on a very clever riffle shuffle principle devised by Charles Jordan. Now let me first explain very briefly the principle. I have 3 cards, ace, 2, 3 of clubs, which I'm going to place on top, and I'm going to riffle shuffle the cards, yes? And of course, the cards do get shuffled, don't they? Because it's a shuffle. Well, if I show you again, look, you see that although some cards got in between, possibly some others got in between here, it doesn't matter, the order of the cards remain the same. And that's the working, the operating principle behind this trick. What we need is a bank of cards, just 13 cards. In our case, I just picked all the hard cards. That could be any other cards. So they rest on top of the pack. And the order doesn't matter. Not important. The only thing I remember in this case, let's put 5, so we have this, okay? You have a 5, in the 5th position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So that's the one I'm going to use in the explanation. Another reason why I picked this trick is that it illustrates how you can stage deceptively a mathematical principle. Now, it's necessary that the spectator deals no more than 12 cards, yes, in this trick. So, just going there and saying, please deal any number from 1 and 12, just is very suspicious. So, for instance, the presentation with the invisible dice, or whatever you can come up with that would limit to 12, yes, is a humorous way, but it's also a very logical way to limit to 12, because you can't throw more than 2 sixes. Okay, let's assume now the spectator throws 6, whatever it is. She would count down 6 cards. Now, the problem is, how do I avoid that the spectator is going to make any mistake? And one way of doing it, and I'm going to illustrate it in this trick, is that I do the procedure before the spectator goes into it. So in this case, remember, I threw the dice, and I say, oh, it's a 3 and a 2. Of course, I make it 5 because I know the 5th card from the top is my key card, is 5 of hearts, yes? So I will illustrate it to the spectator, say you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the number of you obtained through the dice. You look at the next card, and do it very clearly, and then you drop the rest on top. Now by doing this, you brought the previously remembered key card to the top. So it's a 5 of hearts. So I can introduce a false shuffle to retain, of course, the order and position of the top 13 cards, if I like. Actually, I think it's a good idea. And the spectator counts whatever, for instance, 6 cards. 1, 2, 3. When she starts dealing, she might do, you know, a little bit, just, lay people will go like this. So make sure you say, count them silently so I can't hear. Remember, I do a little gather, blah, 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 or something like that, like the children do when they put the fingers in the air, because that's a solution people will have at the end. I'm going to explain this in more detail a little bit later, but it's always important that at each moment we are aware that people try to find out how our tricks work, and that we design what we say and what we do in such a way that the intelligent mind cannot penetrate the secret. For this we have many strategies. This is one of them. So we have 6, for instance, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, silently counted. She looks at the next card, in our case, whatever it is the 10 of hearts. And now by placing the dealt cards on top, we have the key card going on the 10. So the 5 goes on the 10. Now, when the spectator riffle shuffles the cards twice, what is going to happen is that we have introduced cards between, we don't know how many, between the hard cards, but the 5 is always going to precede the 10. Yes? So we have a distant card, which is another principle. Now let's look at the situation here. In this particular case, you can see the 5 at some points. Now in our example, we have 2 indifferent cards in between, and then comes the 10 of hearts. Now that's a fascinating, very interesting principle to be used in many different ways. Now here is an idea I use in the presentation to avoid people thinking, well, he's just looking through the cards and finds my card. Now I know it's a hard card. So that's when I started to say, I think you don't have a black, you have a red card. People go, yes. Not only is it a red, it's a hard card. Yes. I mean, you're almost there. And then I pretend, and of course it's that, but I don't pronounce the value. Of course, I don't know which one it is. But since I already divined two things, you know, the spectators are going to assume, well, he very probably knows even the third, which is very strong. Because now, when I'm going to put the card on the table, it's just, so to speak, to commit myself. But what I'm really doing is, of course, I'm looking for the key card. In our example, it's the 5. Then I take the hard card following it and put it face down. So I say, les jets sont faits, rien ne va plus, whatever, you know, I've committed myself. Now we have the card named, which is very important for several reasons. We're going to look at it a little bit later. But the spectator names the card and I turn over the card. Now again, there are different ways of turning over the card. You can turn it over sideways, you can turn it over that way, you can turn it over this way. Now, in the situations where you reveal the correct card, it's a good idea to first turn it towards yourself, look at it, create this moment of suspense, and then have the revelation, rather than immediately turning it over. In cases where this is the wrong card, because we're going to do some kind of sucker effect, it's a good idea to turn it over first towards the audience, so people get, that's the wrong card, but I don't see it. And then I only see it and I have my reaction. So, this is the mind mirror, and it's an excellent, very deceptive trick that will even fool magicians.